So it appears as though we won't get equity for the passing of Shangla Robinson, and afterward return to America and express we're on base. I don't really accept that this is over. We want to raise this account of the world. And that is the reason we will keep on battling for equity for Shanquella Robinson. Miserable news today. Racial segregation has by hindered the method of equity. The U.S. has put out its announcement that Shanquella Robinson's case needs more proof to seek after legitimate charges, yet this misfortune has not deterred the Robinson family from taking their case to people in general. Don't have confidence. 506. We have seen on numerous occasions what public tension can accomplish. We have all deeds, so moving right along, we should get into it. The Robinson family's lawyer Son as of late held a question and answer session after U.S. authorities declared they won't record bureaucratic crook accusations in Robinson's obligation. Sue conveyed the Robinson family's mistake and dissatisfaction with the absence of activity in the U.S. part. Mrs. Robinson, again, is clearly frustrated, similar to all the family of the gathering today. The U.S. lawyer Dana Ruler had recently put out an announcement saying that the case was feeble regardless, and there is no significant proof, the specialist said in a news discharge, as for each situation viable for administrative indictment. The public authority should demonstrate for certain that a felony was perpetrated in view of the consequences of the dissection. And after a cautious pondering and survey of the analytical materials by both U.S. lawyers' workplaces, bureaucratic investigators informed Ms. Robinson's family today that the accessible proof doesn't uphold a bureaucratic indictment, despite the fact that deterred the Robinson family has chosen to spring an attest public strain on the public authority to make a move. Yet we're not dissuaded. We're actually going to walk. We're actually going to revitalize in D.C. on May 19th. The group of Shanquella Robinson, alongside numerous allies, approached the State Division and Branch of Equity to make a move Friday morning. Since the U.S. has not given the family much data about their examination months after Shanquella was killed out traveling to Mexico, the Robinsons had not faltered as they continued looking for reality. With regards to what truly befell their little girl, we're totally planning for the convention on the 200 day on May 19. And afterward, we certainly will in any case. BU realized thumping down entryways and requesting our meet the lawyer contended that the case was not treated in a serious way in light of the fact that the casualty was an ethnic minority. Racial separation has had an enormous influence in postponing a fair outcome being given to the casualty's family. It ought not be that in this country that people of color, dark and earthy colored survivors of wrongdoing, notwithstanding that Swan trusts that on the off chance that there were any issues with the postmortems led by both Mexico and the U.S., the two states ought to have imparted about it. Yet this multitude of superfluous techniques brought about the postponement and nothing else. Issues as for Mexican postmortem examination versus the examination led by the FBI. Those things will be a consequence of a postpone. It is fairly staggering to see that a global wrongdoing was managed, such an obligation stop on the off chance that the specialists had acted quickly. Absence of proof could not have possibly been an issue. The specialists would have gotten involved the moment the video surfaced. There could never have been a postpone. There would have been prompt proclamation taken from the people, included the fans, are shocked by the dauntlessness of the American equity framework. This insane more did the FBI need. I petition God for equity for this family. Trust me, you're in good company. I'm remaining with you and Quella. She didn't merit this equity for her, a wonderful individual of color. Now the lawyer has presumed that this is a group's case, and no one but individuals can compel enough government to give Robinson the equity. She made sense of that. They had the option to get the U.S. specialists to put out their announcement simply because of the public's development and backing. Until individuals needed to say hello, we won't acknowledge that this is exactly what it is. This can't be exactly what it is. We witness for ourselves. Sue Ann talked for the sake of the legitimate group that they stand with the family until the end not entirely settled to get equity for Robinson. Come what may in the group Ben Crump to Nikki Mallory. Until opportunity Mario Dark, we always stand with this family. And we will remain with this family till the end. However miserable as it could be, it has forever been the case individuals of color generally need to cut their own specific manner to equity. They need to battle even top to bottom to get their human and established privileges. Recollect the instance of George Floyd, an African American, that was killed ruthlessly because of policing the side of a street. Well, an observer foreman, who was unintentionally likewise a piece of police, portrayed the scene as a quarrel between two cops and a few individuals of color fighting close to his home, close to 53rd Road and Lake Park Road. Foreman told agents he endeavored to mediate when he saw a few cops moaning ceaselessly on a man with their rod, alluding to the case. The lawyer accepts that individuals had the option to get equity for George Floyd, so it is very conceivable that they can accomplish something similar for Shanquella too. She makes sense of that the public authority is gaslighting us into questioning the truth. We have seen from our own eyes that was a situation where we were being told, don't really accept that your own eyes don't completely accept that. Derek's kids has his knee on his neck for 8 minutes, except that it's actually a heart palpitation, returning to the valid example. As per the clinical inspector, the post-mortem results reasoned that Robinson's reason for death is unsure, yet the main discoveries were hematoma of the temple mount, cerebral edema, and hypoxic ischemic mind injury. The report expressed that the hematoma of the temple was steady with an obtuse power injury. So considering that assertion, Sue, and addressed how might a case be shut when the reason for death was not resolved, how can you close an examination on a situation where the reason for death is dubious, yet we as a whole have seen a video showing a fierce assault? This opinion is reflected by the general population. Too, they estimate that there is a few defilement in the positions of the specialists and the legal framework. We need to do a GoFundMe to purchase everybody in the U.S. non-equity framework glasses. The world watched the video and saw what occurred, yet they can't find sufficient proof that family better shift gears and sue the Cabo 6 in common court to strip them of all that the proprietor will claim. I petition God for recuperating for the family, and that equity wins at any rate. Then brief piece of the lawful group is extremely hopeful about the case. He accepts that everything isn't lost. We will actually want to get equity, assuming we continue to seek after the case. He took to Twitter saying equity is as yet feasible for hashtag Shanquella Robinson's passing. While it's deterring for her family, the Dodge won't be chasing after charges against her attacker. We trust that a fair outcome will be given in Mexico. The U.S. ought to remove those capable to Mexico to confront responsibility in spite of all the energy. We as a whole know that back in November, Daniel de la Rosa, the head legal officer for Baja California Sur, let correspondents know that Robinson's passing come about because of direct hostility, and that a capture warrant for the wrongdoing of femicide, the killing of a lady due to her orientation, had been given. Postpone Rosa accepted that a companion of Robinson's was answerable for her passing, yet the captures have not been made right up to the present day. So general society accepts that they are meaningless remarks and nothing more. This is vacant, empty talk. Judge Joe Brown stalled my removal ain't occurring. It would get into a tricky situation that the U side prepared for, since the Flowpot U.S. has an open worldwide warrant on him. We definitely know that at first the Cabo 6 spindled an anecdote about Shanquella's passing that she passed on from liquor harming, yet concerning the times it was observed that Robinson was found oblivious in the front room in San Jose del Link, and she kicked the bucket around 15 minutes after she was harmed. The testament had no notice of liquor harming the Robinson family, is grief-stricken on the off chance that the public authorities' absence of aim to assist them with night. However, they are U.S. residents. While tending to the public, Shanquella's sister Quillen long said, "I have not had the option to rest since October 29th of 2022. I got the call of her demise. I additionally was lied about her passing. And I saw among others of the world a video of a demise. This excursion has been disappointing the sensation of disheartenment towards our administration. I feel like our administration has boned us now. We need to make additional strides in estimations, to the extent that meetings, to the extent that public interviews and mailing letters. I feel like we shouldn't need to do this. The fans give the Robinson family their adoration, and all the best they regard them for not surrendering and battling for equity. Despite everything, love the lawyer's determination to not surrender and to keep battling for this family. Likewise regard Mrs. Robinson's solidarity during this whole trial, supplications going up for the Robinson family. And for equity to be done, the damaged mother actually grieves the deficiency of her wonderful girl. She was the final remaining one to talk with Shanquella, and was feeling significantly better. That her little girl was living it up her distress is unfathomable now. That she will always be unable to hear from her girl. From this point onward, Salamandra Robinson told Individuals magazine she said they were all living it up, and I told her I'd converse with her tomorrow. And I at no point ever addressed my little girl in the future. That is all there is to it for now, people. Until next time, farewell.